There comes a time in every man's life when he must face the brutal truth. No one is coming to save him. The crowd will not care about your struggle. They will not feel the hunger in your belly, the weight on your back, or the ache in your bones. They are too busy with their own survival, and you, if you intend to rise above mediocrity, must understand this: your fate is in your hands alone. The moment a man begins to depend on others for motivation, he has already surrendered his power. It is a betrayal of the spirit to wait for applause before you act. The most powerful individuals in history were those who moved forward in complete silence, compelled not by public attention, but by private obsession. They did not ask for encouragement. They did not require understanding. They demanded of themselves a level of excellence that the world could not comprehend, and they pursued it relentlessly, without seeking permission. You must build a mind so strong that even in the absence of support you keep climbing. You must train your will so well that in the presence of doubt you keep moving. This is the iron law of personal power. Depend on no one, expect nothing, and do it anyway. The man who can walk alone, without sympathy, without company, and without validation, is the man who holds the keys to his future. There is a kind of inner wealth that no bank can measure, and it is called self-reliance. It is not inherited, it is not taught in schools, and it cannot be faked. It is forged in isolation, in long nights when you question everything and still choose to press on. It is born in those moments when no one calls, no one texts, no one notices. But you still wake up early, you still work late, and you still carry the fire. You must become your own hero. Stop romanticizing the idea that someone will come along and give you what you never earned. No one owes you belief. No one is responsible for your destiny but you. If you desire greatness, then you must initiate it. If you desire change, you must cause it. And if you desire strength, you must create it, not with words, but with consistent, purposeful action. Most men remain weak because they remain dependent. They seek approval from friends, validation from family, support from society, and when it doesn't come, they crumble. But the man who breaks that addiction, the man who decides that he alone is enough, he becomes unstoppable. He no longer needs cheerleaders. He becomes his own fire. He no longer needs inspiration. He becomes the source. He no longer begs for opportunity. He creates his own door and kicks it open. The illusion that others will carry you must be shattered. Every time you rely on someone else's push, you weaken your own legs. The man who masters his life is the one who says, even if they don't clap, I'll win. Even if they don't help, I'll rise. Even if they leave me behind, I will build forward. Self-reliance is not pride. It is not arrogance. It is not the rejection of others. It is the decision to never let your life be held hostage by their opinion, their support, or their applause. It is freedom. It is strength. It is the foundation of everything real. There is a world of people who talk, complain, and blame. They point fingers at the government, the system, their upbringing, their circumstances. But none of that builds anything. None of that creates progress. The man who wins is the man who says, this is where I am and this is where I'm going, and then gets to work. No complaints, no excuses, no begging for someone to notice. This world has taught you to expect attention for every step. Social media has trained you to think that every action deserves a like, every thought deserves a comment, and every move deserves praise. But life is not your follower. Life does not reward you for intention. Life rewards execution. So stop looking at the crowd and start building your path. The strongest version of yourself will never be born under soft lights and loud applause. It will be born in quiet mornings and lonely nights, in failed attempts and unseen progress. It will be born when you stop asking for someone to walk with you and start marching alone. And yes, it will hurt, but that pain will refine you, that silence will build you, that solitude will raise your standards to a place where mediocrity cannot survive. Pity is the most seductive form of self-destruction. It feels good temporarily. It makes you feel justified in your inaction. It gives you a sense of righteousness in your suffering, but it is poison. And the man who drinks it daily will rot from the inside out. You must learn to see pity for what it is, a thief that steals your fire and sells it back to you as comfort. When hardship hits, do not reach out for sympathy. Do not post your pain, seeking likes. Do not dramatize your struggle in the hopes that someone will care. The only one who needs to care is you. The only one who needs to act is you. The only one responsible for climbing out is you. Action is the antidote. The moment you feel like giving up, take a step forward. The moment you feel sorry for yourself, do 10 push-ups. The moment you feel lost, sit down and write your goals again. Do not wait to feel better. Work until you are better. Do not wait for the pain to fade. Use the pain as fuel. There is power in motion. Movement kills self-pity. Discipline shatters doubt. Progress silences the inner critic. And achievement rewires the brain for strength. You do not need more sympathy. You need more sweat. You do not need more comfort. You need more courage. You do not need more people around you. You need more purpose within you. You will discover something remarkable once you begin acting despite the absence of care. You will realize you never needed their concern. You never needed their approval. You never needed their help. All you ever needed was to stop lying to yourself and start doing what you said you would do. Your excuses are nothing but chains, forged from fear and delay. Every time you say, "They don't support me," you are handing away your power. Every time you say, "They don't understand me," you are postponing your purpose. And every time you say, "They don't care," you are simply repeating the truth, they don't. So stop waiting for them to change, and change yourself. Pain is a signal, use it. Rejection is a lesson, learn from it. Loneliness is a furnace, step into it and let it refine your soul. The ones who are clapping for you today, they may disappear tomorrow. The ones who ignore you now, they may beg for your time later. None of it matters. What matters is the man you are when the room is empty, when the world is quiet, and when the lights are off, because that man is real. That man is who you truly are, and that man is the one who will either build the empire or live in regret for not beginning. So forget who is watching. Forget who is listening. Forget who is helping. No one's coming. No one owes you anything. This is your life. This is your battle. This is your responsibility. The man who cannot master his emotions will be mastered by everything that happens around him. His moods will become chains. His reactions will be prisons. And his need to be understood, validated, or celebrated will keep him enslaved to the ever-changing tides of public opinion. Control of self begins with control of feeling. And that is not something inherited or gifted. It is a decision made in the fires of hardship. No one rises to greatness by feeling good. They rise by doing what is necessary, regardless of what they feel. They rise by acting in the absence of praise, pushing forward through the fog of uncertainty, and maintaining their standards even when the world shows no signs of gratitude. Emotional control is not the absence of feeling. It is the refusal to be ruled by it. It is power cloaked in silence. It is stability under pressure. It is presence in chaos. There is a war taking place within every man. One part wants comfort, attention, and ease. The other part demands discipline, solitude, and sacrifice. Most lose the battle because they believe the noise in their heads more than the voice of their purpose. But the man who wins, the man who does not flinch when ignored, who does not crumble when misunderstood, who does not fold when unsupported, is the man who has trained his emotions like a soldier. His mind is the general, and his feelings obey. The world will provoke you, it will offend you, it will tempt you to lash out, to chase recognition, to beg for attention, and to defend yourself every time you are doubted. But the moment you give in, the moment you start reacting to noise, you stop building. A man cannot construct his empire and argue with critics at the same time. He must choose, either become emotionally bulletproof or stay forever distracted by the opinions of people who add no value to his life. Silence is not weakness. Indifference is not ignorance. They are tools of focus. They are shields of the disciplined. The man who ignores nonsense, who chooses not to react to pettiness, who keeps building while others speak, is the man who climbs faster and farther. Because while others are busy being seen, he is busy becoming something worth seeing. Do not make the mistake of thinking emotional control is coldness. It is clarity. It is choosing not to respond to things beneath your mission. It is the wisdom to recognize that not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every slight deserves your energy, and not every battle is worth fighting. Reserve your fire for what matters. Guard your focus like it's gold. Because it is, and when they ignore you, let them. When they laugh, let them. When they doubt you, let them. That is their right, and it is your duty to rise anyway. Every second spent trying to prove your worth to others is a second lost from proving your worth to yourself. The man who has tamed his emotions walks into the storm without trembling. He looks into the eyes of failure without blinking, and he rises from betrayal without bitterness. He does not need to show strength. He is strength. To achieve anything extraordinary, you must detach from the need to be seen. You must sever the connection between your effort and their attention. If your vision depends on applause, you will crumble the moment silence arrives. If your goals require understanding, you will quit the moment confusion appears. But if your mission is anchored in purpose, pure, personal, and deeply internal, nothing outside of you can shake it. Your vision must become sacred. Sacred enough that you protect it from distractions. Sacred enough that you would die for it if necessary. Sacred enough that you don't dilute it by explaining it to people who will never understand it. It is not their job to see it. It is your job to build it. And the stronger your connection to that vision, the less you care about who's watching, who's clapping, and who's missing. The crowd is addicted to spectacle, not substance. They'll praise a clown before they recognize a king in the making. They'll worship entertainment over endurance. They'll cheer for what's loud, not what's real. And if you adjust your path to gain their attention, you will abandon your destiny for their amusement. Do not perform. Build. Do not chase applause. Chase truth. And if you must walk alone to do it, then walk alone with pride. Every master builder, every warrior of vision, every true leader has had to endure the drought of recognition. The early stages of greatness are quiet, unglamorous, and often ignored. That's when most people quit, because they were never in it for the mission. They were in it for the attention. They didn't want to become excellent. They just wanted to be noticed, and when no one watched, they stopped working. But the rare man, the real man, keeps swinging the hammer even when no one is there to hear it. He lays the bricks, he sharpens the blade. He gets up at dawn, not because the world is watching, but because he refuses to watch his own dream die. He understands that greatness is forged in private, and when the time comes, the world will not be able to ignore what he has become. There is something terrifying about a man who works without needing to be seen, because you cannot control him, you cannot manipulate him with attention, you cannot starve him of approval because he feeds off vision. You cannot distract him with noise because he is driven by clarity. He is not moved by trends. He is not motivated by followers. He is not addicted to the spotlight. He is loyal to his calling. Your vision is not entertainment. It is war. It is war against your weakness, war against your distractions, war against every excuse that tries to convince you to settle. And in war, you don't stop to explain your mission to everyone you pass. You fight, you win, you move forward, let the results be the explanation. You must stop hoping for their validation. Stop looking for signs that they believe in you. Stop waiting for anyone to say you're doing the right thing. That's not their role. That's not their responsibility. You were not born to be seen. You were born to become. You were not born to be understood. You were born to build something that demands understanding. You were not born to be applauded. You were born to live in such a way that your existence commands respect without a word spoken. The power to stay locked into your vision, regardless of who's watching, is what separates legends from the forgotten. The man who continues to build with no audience becomes the man the world eventually cannot ignore. But you must endure the loneliness. You must welcome the obscurity. You must embrace the silence as proof that you are on a path that few have the courage to take. Vision is not for the many, it is for the few, and it is for the few because most people need too much from others just to keep going. They need support, they need attention, they need validation, and when it doesn't come, they lose steam. But the one who keeps going without it, the one who moves forward without applause, that man is a force. So let them ignore you, let them doubt you, let them forget you. You are not doing this for them. You are doing this because you were born with a mission that burns brighter than any spotlight. You are doing this because the pain of staying average is greater than the discomfort of walking alone. You are doing this because you made a vow to yourself that you would not die full of excuses, regrets, and wasted potential. You are doing this because you are done living for their eyes and finally ready to live for your own fire. You are doing this because the silence is the greatest sign that you're finally doing it right. You are doing this because you refuse to become the man who needed to be noticed to become powerful. You are doing this because you finally understand what it means to be unstoppable. Discipline is the quiet killer of mediocrity. It is not glamorous, it doesn't get applause, it doesn't go viral, but it is the one quality that builds empires, sculpts warriors, and creates kings out of common men. Discipline is the moment you act when you don't want to. It's the alarm you obey without negotiation. It's the schedule you keep when no one is watching. It's the commitment you honor when motivation has packed its bags and disappeared. The man who builds discipline as his daily doctrine becomes unstoppable. While others are looking for inspiration, he's already moving. While others are waiting for motivation, he's already grinding. While others are hoping for clarity, he's already doing the work. He understands a brutal truth. If you only work when you feel like it, you'll be average for life. But if you work when you hate it, when you're tired, when you're overlooked, when you're broke, when you're doubted, then you'll build something most men will never touch. You cannot worship comfort and also serve greatness. You must choose your God, and if your God is discipline, then every moment of weakness becomes a place of growth. Every obstacle becomes an altar where you sacrifice your excuses. Every setback becomes a sermon on the power of consistency. Discipline is not something you try, it's something you live. It must be burned into your bloodstream until your body moves before your brain tries to bargain. This world is built to test you. It will tempt you to relax when you should rise. It will seduce you with comfort when you should conquer. It will drown you in distraction while whispering lies that you're doing enough. But enough is the vocabulary of the weak. Enough is the excuse of the almost successful. Enough is the deathbed confession of the man who realized too late that his potential demanded more than average effort. Discipline rewrites your reality. It bends time in your favor. It multiplies your results in silence. It carves out results from days that others waste, and it requires nothing from the world, no recognition, no support, no validation. Just you alone putting in the work while others scroll, sleep, and complain. You do it because the man you want to become cannot be born in a life of comfort. You cannot fake discipline. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't, you will remain a slave to your moods, your distractions, your doubts. You'll start strong and finish nowhere. You'll talk big and live small, but the disciplined man speaks with results. His success is his statement. His routine is his declaration. He doesn't need to scream his goals because his life whispers his focus in everything he does. Make your discipline louder than your dreams. Wake up when it's inconvenient. Work when no one sees. Sacrifice the petty pleasures that keep you stuck. Become the kind of person who can't live without structure, who thrives on repetition, who is addicted to execution. Let others chase variety while you master the fundamentals. Let others chase pleasure while you become obsessed with performance. Let others wait for the right time while you create it every day through ruthless consistency. It is not talent that separates the elite. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is a sickening level of commitment to the boring, the painful, the routine. It is the willingness to bleed in silence, to train when it's raining, to read while others party, to stretch while others sleep, to think while others waste time talking. Discipline is the dividing line. It is the great separator. It is the chisel that sculpts excellence from the stone of average, and once discipline becomes your religion, something strange begins to happen. You begin to hold yourself to a higher standard. Not because others expect it, but because you refuse to live beneath the level you've earned through suffering. This is where identity is born, not from words, but from practice, not from declarations, but from consistency. Your standard is your identity, and the standard you keep is the mirror that reflects who you really are. People lie with their mouths, but never with their habits. You can say you want greatness, but your standards will expose the truth. You can say you want wealth, power, influence, respect, but your daily rituals will tell the real story. The man who accepts crumbs in private cannot pretend to be a king in public. The man who cuts corners in silence will never lead with strength, because the identity is forged in the dark, long before it is recognized in the light. Your standard is the invisible law that governs your behavior. If it's low, you'll tolerate laziness, excuses, mediocrity. You'll forgive yourself too easily. You'll let things slide. You'll say things like, just this once. I'll start tomorrow. It's not that bad. And before you know it, those weak standards will become the architecture of your failure. But if your standard is high, so high that it offends the lazy and scares the comfortable, then you begin to move different. You walk with intent. You act with precision. You don't need pressure because your identity is already demanding the best of you. You don't need accountability because your internal compass won't allow you to slip. You don't need discipline forced on you from the outside because it's already etched into the fabric of who you are. Raise your standard and your life will have no choice but to follow. But understand this. Your standard cannot just live in your mind. It must be reflected in your calendar, your diet, your conversations, your decisions. It must appear in how you dress, how you speak, how you work, how you train, how you treat others. The man who lives by high standards doesn't compromise. He doesn't beg others to understand. He doesn't dilute his effort to make others comfortable. He moves with certainty because he knows what he stands for. You don't need more goals. You need higher standards. You don't need more information. You need to enforce what you already know. You don't need a mentor to fix you. You need to stop betraying yourself every time things get hard. The man who becomes elite is not necessarily more skilled. He is simply more intolerant of anything beneath the identity he is committed to. This is why most men fail. They want greatness, but they tolerate garbage. They dream of excellence, but they sleep with mediocrity. They speak of leadership, but they submit to comfort. Your life will always match your minimum standard, not your maximum goal. Raise the floor. Make your worst day better than most men's best. Make your baseline a threat to their peak. Let your normal routine be so brutal, so consistent, so intense that it shames their best attempt. And once that becomes who you are, when you can't accept average, when you can't tolerate weakness, when you can't live with inconsistency, then you have crossed the threshold. You've stopped chasing a dream and started becoming the man capable of living it. You've stopped hoping for a better life and started forging it with fire and steel. You've stopped waiting for others to care and started doing it for you, because anything less would violate the standards that define you, because when you walk like a warrior, speak like a leader, think like a champion, and move like a man on a mission, you no longer ask the world to give you what you deserve. You demand it by the way you show up, every day, no matter who's watching, no matter who's missing, no matter who understands or doesn't. You don't perform to impress. You execute because your identity leaves no other option. You don't rise because you're supported. You rise because the man you've chosen to become leaves no room for compromise, no space for weakness, no tolerance for delay. You rise because your standard is now the sword that cuts through distraction, the compass that guides your every step, the weight that keeps you grounded, and the crown you refuse to wear until you've earned it through the pain of daily mastery. You rise because you're no longer asking for greatness. You are becoming it with every disciplined action and every uncompromising standard you refuse to lower even for a moment in a world that constantly begs you to settle for less than who you were born to be. Nobody cares. And that's your greatest advantage, because once you stop seeking validation and start building for yourself, you become untouchable. Discipline becomes your daily vow, emotional control your silent strength, and your vision the reason you move through every storm. You stop performing and start becoming. Your standards rise, your actions sharpen, and your need for approval dies. In that death, a new version of you is born, one that no longer waits, explains, or compromises. Do it for you because no one else will, and greatness only belongs to the one who's willing to earn it in silence.